All right, let's dive into something huge, something that's all around us, but often invisible: big data. We're going to talk about what it means for your personal privacy, because this is a story about technology, sure, but it's also about trust and a global fight for control that really affects every single one of us.
You know, when a US representative compares what's happening today to a show like Black Mirror, yeah, that gets your attention. That quote just perfectly captures this kind of unsettling feeling we all get sometimes that technology is moving way faster than our ability to actually control it.
So, what is this Black Mirror stuff that's happening right now in our world? Well, that is exactly what we're here to break down. And it all kicks off with this really fundamental shift in how the entire internet works.
Okay, you've probably heard this before. In the digital age, if you're not paying for the product, you are the product. This first part is all about getting our heads around how our personal information, our clicks, our likes, our lives, became one of the most valuable things on the planet. So let's put a name to it. The term is surveillance capitalism. And yeah, it sounds pretty intense because it is. This is the business model that powers so many of the free apps and services we love. It basically works by turning our posts and our clicks into, and I'm quoting here, free raw material that can be analyzed, packaged up, and sold. Just think about your average day. Seriously, your car's GPS is tracking your routes. Amazon knows what you're shopping for, probably before you do. The apps on your phone, they know exactly where you are right this second. We are all constantly creating this massive digital cloud of data about ourselves, a lot of the time without even thinking about it. Most of the time, this whole system just hums along quietly in the background. But what happens when it doesn't? When the platforms we trust with all this data break that trust? Well, the consequences can be incredibly revealing and sometimes deeply personal. Let's rewind a bit for a perfect case study. Back in 2007, Facebook rolled out this program called Beacon. The idea was to share what you were doing on other websites with all of your Facebook friends. And well, it very quickly became a textbook example of a company going way too far. Here's just how badly it worked. Imagine you go and rent a movie, or maybe you buy a surprise gift for someone. A tiny little pop-up appears on your screen, but it's gone in just 10 seconds. So if you happen to look away or you're just not fast enough on the mouse, boom. Your private purchase is suddenly public news, shared with absolutely everyone you know. And the key thing, it happened without you ever explicitly saying yes. The design was so confusing, so user-unfriendly, that a judge in the class action lawsuit that followed said you basically needed video game skills just to protect your own privacy. This wasn't just some technical glitch, it was a fundamental breakdown of trust between a massive platform and the people using it. You could say the whole Beacon thing was an early warning shot. In the years since, this global tug-of-war has just exploded over a really simple question. Who should control our data? Should it be us, the companies, or our governments? And right now, we're really seeing two main philosophies emerge. Over in the European Union, they tend to see privacy as a fundamental human right, no questions asked. Their big law, the GDPR, even gives people a right to be forgotten. But here in the United States, it's more of a legal patchwork. There's a stronger emphasis on things like corporate free speech, and it's a mix of different laws at the state and federal level. But it's important to note that patchwork in the US is definitely changing. You've got states like California really leading the charge with laws that are starting to look a lot more like that European model, giving people more direct control to review and even delete their digital footprint. And regulators are absolutely stepping in. The U.S. Federal Trade Commission, the FTC, has come down on companies like Google and Facebook, ordering them to set up privacy programs that will be watched by outside auditors for the next 2 decades. That's a long time. So regulation is one piece of the puzzle. But the other part? It's kind of hidden in plain sight. It's in those super long terms of service agreements that, let's be honest, we all just click agree to without ever reading. So what are we actually signing away? Looking at them side by side like this is pretty revealing, isn't it? TikTok is very upfront that it provides user data to help law enforcement. Instagram, which is part of Meta, collects just a staggering amount of information, even sensitive stuff like your political views. And then you have Twitter, which frames the whole thing as a license, where really you're the one responsible for what you post. And honestly, it all kind of boils down to this one stark line, pulled directly from Twitter's terms: at your own risk. It's just a powerful reminder that on a lot of these platforms, the ultimate burden for your safety and your privacy, it's placed right back on your shoulders. So, after all that, where does it leave us? Well, the truth is this is a totally ongoing battle. The lines are constantly being redrawn, mostly because technology just continues to evolve at this absolutely breathtaking pace. And the challenges are just getting more and more complex. I mean, we're talking about huge leaps in artificial intelligence, the spread of smart devices in our homes and cars collecting data, facial recognition becoming common. Each new invention just adds another complicated layer to this whole debate. When you stack it all up, you might start to feel like researcher Mark A. Smith, who just put it bluntly. Nothing is private. It's a feeling that really captures the vulnerability a lot of us have in this hyper-connected world. And that brings us to the biggest question of all, the one that's been hanging over this whole conversation. Has the actual concept of privacy, has it just become obsolete? Is it gone for good? Well, maybe the answer is a little more complicated than a simple yes or no. A lot of experts argue that privacy isn't dead, but that our social norms, how we think and feel about it, are just evolving. We're all, together, kind of renegotiating what we're willing to share and what we expect to be kept secret. And that really leaves us with this final and I think most important question. In this new world of surveillance capitalism and patchwork laws, where your data is a product and the rules are always changing, who do you trust? The platforms? The government? Or, in the end, is it only yourself?